IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today we have an extremely interesting episode. We're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about psychology, and we have a fantastic guest. She is a counseling psychologist as well as the reigning Mrs. India Earth. So it's going to be a fascinating conversation. We're going to talk about her journey as well as how she helps people on their own journeys in life. So Sohini Rohra,
Hi,
welcome to the Habit
Ashdin.
Coach podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
How did you get onto this journey? How did it start? It's like a crazy story.
Yeah. My journey has so many facets to it. Which part of the journey do you want to hear about first?
So one is, how did you become a counseling psychologist? And then how did you decide to take part in this pageant? Why did you decide to take part in this pageant?
So, psychology was always an area of interest for me, and I wanted to become a criminal psychologist as a child.
Okay.
And my mom was like, my frail little girl is going to go and talk to criminals. You do mass media.
What? Really?
Yes.
So straight from criminal psychology to mass media.
So I did mass media, but I was so dissatisfied with my life professionally. I explored nutrition, I explored ECC ed, I explored everything, and then finally my heart went back to its original love, and I restudied.
Wow.
And I went and got myself a master's in counselling psychology and a postgraduate diploma in counselling psychology.
So that takes how many years?
The master's takes about 2 to 4 years, depending how fast you do it at my age. And the diploma takes about a year.
Wow. Okay, so 5 years of changing your course completely of life.
I completely changed my course, and then I felt content and satisfied. But now I want more.
Correct. Don't we all?
Exactly. So one-on-one counseling is great. I love what I do. But I wanted to address people on a more macro level. So I decided to try and participate in the pageant. And if I win, then I have a beautiful, powerful platform
Correct.
to talk about mental health and spread awareness on a larger scale.
So this is giving you that platform for reaching out to a lot of people.
Yes.
But where did that passion for psychology come from? You said criminal psychology. Like, were you watching like certain movies at the time that were like, oh, I need to learn more about, like, where did it come from as a child that you wanted to learn?
You know, even as a child, criminals have a taboo.
Yes.
But somehow I always looked at them from a human point of view, even as a child. And I would tell my mom and my friends that, I remember there was a bomb blast in Sea Rock. I was a young girl then, and it's a horrible thing that happened. And through all the fear, the schools were shut, everything was shut. I remember sitting down and everyone was abusing them. I'm completely against terrorism. But as a child, I kept thinking, why did they do it?
Correct.
What was the pain in them that made them do such an inhuman act? And that is where my interest began. I want to understand what goes on in a mind that is so violent and unemotional. So that's where it began for me.
It was such an interesting adventure, I'm guessing, in that zone, right? Because there are so many concepts that say that people are not born evil.
No,
right?
they're not.
And how does evil come into them?
Yes.
Right? And there are so many different ways of approaching it. And the thing that I love about, having discussions like this is to realize that every single one of us is also equally capable of such an act.
All of us are.
All of us are.
All
It's
of us
just
are.
that we think that, we can never do something like that. But we do not have the same circumstances. And probably if we did have the same circumstances, we would also be able to do something like this.
I think it all boils down to self-awareness. How aware are you of yourself? What are your negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? How much pain are you carrying? How much stuff is under your carpet that's going to come flying out during a Diwali cleaning or Christmas cleaning, and you're like, oh my God, all those emotions. So just being aware of who you are, what are your goals, where do you want to be, automatically takes you to healthier coping mechanisms.
Correct.
Because then you're even aware of your vindictive side or your narcissistic side. We all have it.
Right.
So for me, it all boils down to self-awareness.
This self-awareness. I love your analogy of Diwali cleaning. We have to do one reel on this. On while you're cleaning your house, clean yourself as
Clean
well,
your
right?
mind,
Yeah,
yes.
clean your mind.
Yes,
And how do you
yes.
get rid of all these things? Like you say, we keep sweeping all the pain and the hurt that we've experienced through
Yes.
life under the carpet.
Yes.
How do we actually take it out and get rid of it?
We process it. We talk about it. We journal. How am I feeling today? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling? Why am I reacting so drastically to such a small situation?
Right.
So when people tell you that, don't you think you're overreacting? No, you're not overreacting. You're experiencing some deep-rooted pain. And this small little thing has triggered the pain. Like, your seed just boom, goes into a tree. So your whys are very important. And to constantly ask yourself your own whys takes you then to your house.
Right. So you start with the why.
The
Why
why.
is this happening to me?
To me. Not why is this happening to me?
Not as in like the
Not as a
environment is
victim,
doing
yeah.
this. Not as a victim.
Why am I feeling like this?
Interesting.
Where is this pain coming from? Where is this happiness coming from? Why am I feeling like smoking when I'm stressed out? What is the trigger that takes me to that cigarette? So your whys just take you closer and closer to who you are.
Right. So you get closer to understanding this person.
This.
This.
The main character.
The main character in this entire
Yes,
play that we are in.
absolutely.
And then, without sounding too narcissistic, right? That's an important
Yes,
thing.
yes, of course.
So, main character in this, which is not a narcissist. Then we add the how you said.
The how. So now once you've understood your why, okay, why is my heart racing so drastically before I go up on stage? Now I remember the last day of the first day of my pageant, the main day.
Wow.
Last day of rehearsals, anxiety levels went up. I shut down, stopped talking to anyone, and I was just meditating and chanting and doing my breath work because I was feeling extremely stressed out, abnormally stressed out.
Right.
So then I dug into my why because I said, until I figure out where this is coming from, I'm not going to be able to perform tomorrow. I found out that my why was not stage performance. It had nothing to do with my body or how I looked. It had everything to do with how I spoke. Because I was a chronic stammerer.
Okay.
I couldn't even say my own name.
You would stutter while saying one.
I would stammer, like if you said, what is your name? I would start at so and be stuck at so till the other person has lost patience and left. It's okay, I don't want to know your name. We're
Right.
good. So I was like, now if I stammer on stage, what do I do? So once I found my why, I came up with my house. So I had different house.
And then on how to deal with
How
that
to deal with
anxiety
the
on
stammer
stage.
if it comes up.
If it comes up.
Yeah, and then it also helps with self-talk. Like,
Right.
okay, so when you're done with it, it's an old chapter. If it comes up, it's okay. It's who you are. There's no shame in being who you are. Then that eventually leads to self-acceptance. Then that takes you towards confidence. Then so it's all correlated. And I didn't stammer. Not a word.
Not a word out.
No.
So then after how, is there a what? Are there other questions that you ask yourself that you went through?
Right. So when you go through your how, now you've peeled a layer. So
Correct.
why? Now there's how.
Correct.
Now once you've achieved it, and you're like, now what?
Yeah, now done.
Now done. So now what? So that automatically opens your mind up to your next step. Because you're so clouded with your fears and your anxieties or your triggers or the anger or whatever is going on with you,
Correct.
right? Going back to our terrorists, they don't understand the why. Our criminals don't understand their why. A lot of them understand it after their jail time, when they are in solitude and they have time to think, and then they start thinking, why am I here? I'm so unhappy. Why did I do what I did? They start appreciating what they had in their lives.
Correct.
And that's when all their whys come into place. And then they start thinking about, how do I feel better? So a lot of them take to spirituality,
Yes.
right? So then they find their how. And then they go on and on and on. So it keeps opening. All your hows, as soon as you clear your how, you have your next pathway.
You said something so important. A few months ago, we were conducting a meditation workshop in one of the biggest jails in India. And I can't reveal the name of the jail for confidentiality purposes, but the biggest jail in India. And we had, I think, over 1,000 plus inmates in the room where we were teaching meditation to.
Wow.
And I can't tell you what an emotional moment that was for me, because there were people breaking down and crying.
Yes.
There were people who were just dazed, who did not want to be part of this. They did not know where they were. And it was so interesting to see. And we were talking to the head of the jail after that. And I was like, what have they done that they're there? He said that wide variety. Some are, obviously there would be murderers, robbers, etc. Certain people who just picked a fight on the road are here. Some people who are there in drug possession are here. And it's like one small bad decision and they're here and they're constantly thinking about it now. They're
Yes.
finding spirituality.
Yes.
Their why has gotten lost in all of this, I think.
Yes. So it's very important to find that why. But that why is so scary,
Yeah.
because that why will take you back to that point. It'll make you re-experience it. So the why is the lifting of the carpet. And then you have all that dust, and then you may have an allergic reaction to it. You may get an asthmatic attack. You may have to go on a pump for 3 months to get okay.
Right.
But then you're okay.
So you have to go through that pain of solving for the dust that's been under the carpet, the hurts that's been there in
Yes.
your mind.
Yes.
Only then can you progress further.
Yes. But it's not that scary, because life always gives you support. You have counselors, you have your creative space to explore music, dance, art. All of this is so healing. You can stimulate your intellect through reading, intelligent conversations. You emotionally regulate, of course, through creativity, through counselor, through your relationships. You align your body. You go to the gym, yoga, you do your breath work. You explore your spiritual space. I practice the art of living. It's a huge anchor for me. So you have to just align all these 5 aspects of your life. And there's so much support that comes through there. The fear of fear is larger than the fear itself.
Yes.
So once you step into fear, you're like, oh, okay.
This is what I was afraid of.
Yeah, I can do it. I have all these 5 things to latch on to.
Somebody just asked me this. So I was giving a talk a couple of days ago. You know this. We were giving a talk in Sri Lanka,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so it was an audience of some 550 people. Smallish compared to what you were at. But somebody said, so weren't you frightened getting on stage? And I was like, no, I wasn't frightened, because at that point of time, it's only about the performance that you're focusing on. Right? The fear has long disappeared because you had to process it out.
Correct.
What about you? Did you have any of that fear while you were stepping on stage, or your mind was blank in that moment? How did it feel?
So I was sitting backstage. I remember this so clearly, and I was not talking to anyone, and everyone was making all these reels, and they were walking around and, showing on their Instagram that I'm here, the finale is about to begin. I was like, no, Sohini, I'm very ambitious. When I chase something, I want it.
Right.
So I said, all these reels and all we'll do later. I need to focus. So I was just chanting and watching my breath and aligning myself. And then Yohani came on stage and she started singing. That's when I was done. I heard her voice. I jumped up. I did woohoo. I decided to have a blast, and I just wiped out all the pain. But I had to go through 2 days of that anxiety.
Yeah. It is troubling.
Yes.
And then somebody will come and talk to you or ask you what's wrong, why you're not, and you just don't want to deal with anything at that point of time.
No, you don't want to. And I chose myself. That's where self-awareness comes in. What do I need? At this point, am I going to feel okay with human contact? Or am I going to feel okay being on my own? I chose to be on my own because human contact was disturbing me.
Correct.
So self-awareness is so important. You would say, oh, you aren't feeling okay, go talk to a friend. But do you really need a friend at that time?
Yeah, and will the friend know what to say? One of the biggest things,
man.
especially as a counseling psychologist,
Yes.
like advice is, don't always go to your friends for psychological advice, because they won't always know what the right things to say.
No.
You need to go to a professional.
Yeah, you go to a friend just to vent.
You go to a friend to vent. I like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, counseling psychologists.
Yes.
What are the kinds of issues that people come with you to, for? In the last, I think, maybe a year or two, have you seen a change in the way people have been thinking? Like, what is the main issue on people's minds right now?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. One word. That much.
Anxiety is, I choose to just say anxiety so strongly because, yes, you have your relationship issues, which have actually gotten accelerated because of COVID. A lot of the trash came out when you were cooped up together.
Correct.
Then there's your financial issues again because of COVID. COVID has like affected us at a very core level. It's also helped us see parts of ourselves that we are not okay with.
Yeah.
But the amount of anxiety clients I have, it is unbelievable.
Wow.
They are all struggling with anxiety. Your relationship issues, anxiety. If you're depressed, it leads to anxiety. Anxiety leads to depression. Anxiety leads to gut health. Bad gut health leads to an anxious mind. So it's all kind of correlated. But my maximum clients suffer from anxiety and loneliness.
Yeah, loneliness is... I long time ago, before COVID happened, I said loneliness is the next pandemic.
Oh,
We
yes.
didn't see COVID happening, but at that point of time, I thought loneliness was going to be the next big thing that we'll
Yes.
have to be suffering through.
Yes.
Anxiety. Is it there because our resilience to things have decreased? Is it a question of resilience to things? Or why has anxiety suddenly become...
I think resilience plays a key role in any form of survival and living. It's important. You can't stand strong if you're not resilient. But I also feel a large part of the anxiety is coming from being overwhelmed. Today, do you go to sleep? I'm sure you do. I have no doubts. I don't, without looking into my phone.
Right.
So we're like, oh, how many likes did this reel get? Oh, anxiety content is doing well. Maybe I should think of more. And then I activate my brain.
Correct.
And then I sleep late. I don't sleep well. I'm exhausted when I wake up. Then I am dealing with everyone's emotional trauma. Okay, then I have my own duties. The crown demands from me. Then I have my kids. Then I have my friends' emotional health to look after because they inevitably come to me.
Right.
So there's so much that I as an individual am going through. I'm speaking for myself because most of us are. We're overwhelmed. Now, when you're overwhelmed, then you're tired. You're low on energy, emotional, mental, physical energy. So then how do you perform? So your brain says, boom, I can't do this. And then your anxiety hits you.
And then it's crushing because you can't take any step in any direction.
Yeah, what do you do?
Right.
I mean, I know of times when I myself haven't been able to make it to the washroom because I'm having such a terrible shutdown. But mine was related to losing my mom and grief, and I was doing my master's, and I had my children. So there was a lot going on, but it can hit you so hard that even walking to the toilet is overwhelming.
You know, listening to you, I think also one important aspect of modern life is how do we simplify our lives, right? We have so many balls in the air constantly.
So many, yes.
And the question is, do you really need them? Right? We associate our value with how many balls we can carry.
Yes.
Do we actually need so many? What is it that's happening? Maybe that's another topic for another time. But that's an interesting thing as well.
It depends on the quality of the hats that you're wearing.
Correct. What, according to you, are some of the essentials for good mental well-being?
I just named them actually.
All right.
For me, you can come to me and we can talk about your problems till kingdom come.
Right.
There will be times that we will be able to process it, and there will be times when we can go on and on and on in the same loop. So I feel like a combination of the rational and the spiritual is the ultimate combination for healing.
So something logical-ish thinking, which is the rational part, and then
Into faith.
Into faith, a spiritual aspect.
Yes.
How does that go? Like when you have this conversation with the client, I'm sure not everybody buys into the spiritual part of it. How do you convince them?
I don't. The ones who buy into it heal very fast. And the ones who don't, then I need to find other ways of self-talk, coping mechanisms. I need to approach them through books, podcasts like yours, YouTube channels.
So tools, basically.
Yeah, but it takes a lot longer.
So I think once you realize that spirituality is also a tool in your arsenal, why you're not using it?
It is the ultimate tool. Let's take away the angle of like chanting or all of that and just take it back to yourself. I came from somewhere, I'm going to go somewhere.
Correct.
No one knows the rationale behind how we came and where we are going.
Right.
Right? So there is something. Who sent you? Who's going to take you? Who's making sure that there's food on your plate, there's a roof over your head, you're breathing. How are you breathing? Do you know? How's your heart pumping so fast? So there is an element that's there beyond of our understanding.
Correct.
Reach out to it. It's doing your work. It'll help you with your anxiety as well, combined with your rationale and me and what this world has to offer.
Right. There were actually lots of studies that were done on prayers as a format.
Yes.
And it was actually very shocking. Recently, there's been a trend where people have been talking about praying almost in an apologizing manner. It's like hard to express this, but I pray in the morning. Almost like that. Like prayer was such a normal part of our human existence till maybe a few years ago. What's important is to understand that prayers and even the belief that someone is praying for you has seen a difference in the way that you heal from physical illnesses. So there are lots of studies that were done on this as a concept.
Yes.
And even if you don't believe in God, in a sense, you can believe in a system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is
something either a person or a system or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Universe.
Energy. Call it what you want. Call it a rock.
Correct.
But reach out to it. It's going to do your work for you. I can assure you.
And how do you take people on this spiritual journey of healing as well?
It's very important to be exemplary. If you say something you don't believe in, they'll say, the content was good, but pata nahi maza nahi aaya. I didn't
Conviction
enjoy.
nahi tha.
Right? I'm not
Conviction
convinced. The
Right.
content was good. That's whenever a person says this, be rest assured that the person speaking is not practicing it. Or at least at that point not practicing it.
Right.
It's not an experiential talk. The moment there's an experiential talk, the energy is different. So it's important for me, first of all, to practice what I preach, to walk the talk. So it's not difficult. And I do believe that breath work is extremely important. So I'm not saying jump onto a spiritual path. I'm just saying that breathe a little, have some faith. The sun is rising, the sun is setting. Who's doing all of this?
So right now there are people listening to this podcast and they have anxiety, right? Are there like 4 or 5 tips or habits that you can share that are of this nature, the spiritual nature that we can talk about, that they can start practicing? And like if you're breathing, like what kind of breathing? If it's contemplating, what kind of contemplating?
So I would also like to add that anxiety is actually a friend. So you're overwhelmed. That's one part of anxiety. There's another part of anxiety. When anxiety comes knocking at your door, it's telling you that you are not paying attention to something.
Lovely. Not paying attention to something.
No. There is something that you need to pay attention to.
Interesting.
So then you're like, okay, what do I need to pay attention to? So now there's a feeling of doom, or I can't do it, or I'm scared, or something bad's going to happen. But that's anxiety saying, yeah, you're feeling all these things because there's something really important that you're ignoring. So are you ignoring your health? Are you ignoring some childhood trauma? Are you ignoring abuse? Are you ignoring your toxic marriage and just staying in it because you're supposed to? Are you ignoring the fact that your child is brat and rude and aggressive and hits other kids because you're so biased towards your child? Are you ignoring the fact that you hate your job? Are you ignoring the fact that you enjoy pleasure because of old conditioning? That is where you'll also find a large part of your whys.
Right.
Why is this anxiety coming up? What am I hiding from? What do I need to address? So it's a friend.
It's a friend.
And the more you ignore it, the more it's going to knock. And it's going to bang harder and harder until you open the door and say, what do you want? And they're like, thank God. Now let's start talking.
Yes, your friends are not going to go away.
No, they're not going to go away.
Right, that's why they're a friend.
Absolutely.
Right? If they were a random stranger, they would have knocked 5 times and then said,
gone. Yeah,
right? If there were opportunity, they would have knocked once.
Anxiety
right?
is a friend. I believe anxiety is a friend. Guilt is a friend. These are all our friends. They're taking us to aspects of us that we're not looking at.
Right.
So spiritually, back to your question, I think it all boils down to breath. How you breathe. Do you know how to breathe? Do you know that when you inhale, your stomach needs to expand, your chest needs to expand? Are you contracting your stomach when you're exhaling? So that automatically aligns your system, which then takes away a large part of the stress that we are holding. Are you able to sit still? When you learn to sit still, eventually, it's very difficult for an anxious person to get there. But if you learn to sit still, you will learn to be still even in an overwhelming situation. So how do we get there? Through breath work, through yoga, through spirituality, through affirmations, through journaling your feelings. So there are very simple breathing techniques that I teach my clients that really help.
Can you share one?
The simplest I find is box breathing.
Okay.
Where you kind of create a box. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So whatever your count that's comfortable for you. So let's take 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4 hold. 1, 2, 3, 4 exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4 hold. A few rounds of this will immediately align your system.
Okay.
Now, if you're very, very anxious, you can also use your eyes. So you catch a square. That AC, for example, it's rectangular. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you're holding. 1, 2, 3, 4 exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4 hold.
Lovely.
So your eyes are also engaged. Now you can use your ears. What sound is the AC making? What are the sounds in this room? So now you're grounding yourself again. Can I smell something? I can smell my own perfume. What am I tasting?
Right.
What is my taste like right now? I ate some Chinese. I can taste the food in my mouth. Let me have a mint. Mint really helps also to calm anxiety down because it's a strong flavor.
Correct.
But it begins at the breath.
So it begins at the breath, and then you've tapped into all the
5
senses,
senses.
and you're trying to
How is this
understand
feeling,
it, ground it, correct?
Yes.
How does this feel?
So this also really helps. If you rub your hands onto a nice soft fabric, they say that patting pets, they don't say, I've experienced it, I have 2 pets. Just patting pets also really calms anxiety
Correct.
down.
So in fact, when I'm in a interview or something like that and I'm nervous, it's always just,
You will find.
right, I'm just touching my pants or my jeans or whatever.
And it'll calm
trying
you
to just
down.
ground myself and feel it.
Yes.
I think that's a great way of...
Yeah. So when you're using 5 senses, you can do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I do it like now in this room, it's easy for me to find 5 things. So what are the 5 things I can see?
Right.
I can see this lamp, I can see this curtain, these plants behind you, etc. What are the 4 things that
A podcast host.
a beautiful looking podcast
There
host?
you go.
What can I hear? What are the 4 things I can hear? What are the 3 things I can touch? What are the 2 things I can taste? And what can I smell?
So 5 things, 4 things, 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing.
Yeah, and you attach it to each sense.
Nice.
So if you're in a garden, I can go with 5 things I can hear.
I can hear a bird, I can hear a bee, I can hear,
Yes,
etc.
I can hear children screaming, someone's walking, someone's talking. 4 things I can see a slide, I can see grass, I can see this, I can see that. Then, so 3 things I can touch. I can touch grass, I can touch a bark, I can touch this bench. Then 2 things I can taste and 1 thing I can smell. It immediately engages your senses, grounds you. How does this help? Now I know I'm safe. There is nothing threatening in this environment that my senses have experienced.
So I've looked at everything.
Yes.
I know right now in this moment I'm completely safe. There's nothing that is of danger.
Correct. So I am safe. I don't need to be anxious. So now that I've established that my environment is safe, why am I feeling emotionally unsafe? What is going on with me at this point? And then you can journal. Then you can think. Then you can do your self-talk. You can process. But you have to start at the gross level.
Your
Align your
journaling is
body.
actually like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of your brain.
Correct.
Right? In your journaling, you're actually doing what is this one?
Yeah.
What is this thing? What is this thing that is running around in my mind?
Yeah.
And you suddenly put it down.
Yes.
It's interesting how
That's
to
an
see
interesting expression that you have said, because I didn't think of it like that.
this. Yeah. Because that's what you're doing ultimately,
Correct.
right? You're looking and observing your mind and putting it down on paper. So now it's out of your system.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of your brain.
5, 4,
The
3, 2, 1
technique
of
works
your-
everywhere.
See?
That's
5, 4,
my
3, 2,
code.
1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Next reel.
Yeah.
I'm only coming up with real ideas for you now. This is all new collabs, huh?
Thank you.
All right. So that is a spiritual aspect of it, right? There are other aspects that you guide your, you know, how would you refer to
My client.
your clients through it?
Yes. So you have the rational and the spiritual. The rational part I'm taking care of because I'm disputing you, I'm debating.
That's coming through the talk.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we have proper disputations like a lawyer. Then you have your spiritual aspect, okay, which helps you hear me. Because you do your kriya and come for an art of living person. And then you talk to me, you'll hear me better.
Right.
Okay? So you have your rational, you have your spiritual. Now, what are your energy levels? How's your body feeling? Are you doing your exercise? Are you working out? Are you overweight? Lose weight. Are you underweight? Balance your body. I'm not saying you have to be a size 0, but I'm saying you have to be on the spectrum of health.
Correct.
Okay. Are you flexible? Where are the knots in your body? Are your shoulders hurting? Is your back hurting? Now, shoulder aches can give you headaches, earaches. Forehead and temples can hurt because of a nerve here, you know that?
Right.
So you have to align all of that. Now, if you have a headache, I'm going to be angry. If I'm going to be angry, I'm going to be shouting. If I'm shouting, I'm wasting energy. Now I'm feeling overwhelmed. Now I'm feeling anxious. Now I'm feeling unhappy. Now I'm fighting with my partner. So now I'm emotionally frustrated, sexually frustrated, mentally frustrated, all aspects. I'm yelling at my child, or I'm withdrawing, I'm cowling, I'm coiling up. Because now I know that if I'm going to fight, then I'm going to create a ruckus.
Right.
So I will coil up. That's also so unhealthy.
It's interesting how all of these things are linked.
Correct.
Right? And it could be something as simple as a physical ailment that is causing this
Like
in your
just
mind.
a neck rotation.
Yeah.
Or your lower back aches. That's also a huge cause.
It's a big chronic problem for many
big
people.
Chronic problem. And it's directly related to your mind.
Backache leads to sitting uncomfortably. People come and talk to you. You get annoyed by them because you don't have the energy to deal with them at that point of time. So much of your brain is taken up by just that pain.
Exactly.
Sitting, gingerly on your chair, etc.
Exactly. So are you taking care of you in terms of your body? So you've got your rational, you've got your spiritual, and your body. Now you have to take care of your emotional expression. So now if you've taken care of these 3 aspects, then it's easier for you to emote. Right? So your counseling will help you through that. Your spiritual approach will help you. Creativity. Creativity will also help you with your emotional expression. Because if you're creative, you're flowing, your stress is out, you're in a happy space, you're aligned, you're feeling okay.
How do you tell your clients to do something creative? Like go, join a singing class, go dance?
I do it very slowly with a lot of patience. I take them one step at a time. Through their conversations, I need to think, what are they inclined towards? So there's a 40-year-old man sitting in front of me. I'm talking to him. And through his conversation, I realized that he used to love to sing in school. Today, he's learning the harmonium.
Wow.
And he's so happy. So it's all about being aware, focused. My attention is only my clients. When I'm sitting with my client, I don't have a life. I don't have hunger. I don't have thirst. I don't have emotions that belong to me. I don't have a partner. I don't have a child. I don't have a dog. It's all about you. So it's that hyper focus also that helps me find aspects of you that you yourself can't see.
Correct.
Like, for example, your fear of failure, for example. But I have to tell you very slowly, I have to take you there. If I say, you are scared of failing, it's like, I'm out of here.
Failed, you already failed me.
I have failed.
Right, absolutely. You have to guide them through this slowly and take them through it. Also with creativity, I've noticed that as adults, we feel that society does not value these things. Right? For example, I'm supposed to be a good parent. I'm supposed to be a good bread earner. I'm supposed to be killing it at my job. But nowhere is singing part of it.
But where are you?
Exactly. Who am I in this entire thing?
The parent is present.
Right.
The boss is present, or the employee or the employer is present. The friend is present, whoever else. But where are you?
Yeah. You're so right. Just today, I was having this conversation with somebody in my office. She was saying that, Ashdin, now, I work, I go home, I work, I go home, and soon I will retire and I won't have anything to do. And now one existential crisis was happening, and she's saying, I don't know if I'm getting depressed by this or not. What is happening to me? So I obviously spoke to her for a bit. Nice, as a good not counselor, I said, let me put you in touch with a therapist.
Good plan.
Correct? Like,
Well done.
well done.
Yes.
It's like you can vent, but like go talk to a therapist
Yes.
about this, because that's not
Yes.
my expertise.
Yeah.
I can tell you, of course, you need to work out. I can tell you, of course,
Yes.
how to make those things as habits.
Yes.
But what's happening mentally, that I can't
What
necessarily
is the
detect.
core cause of the existential crisis?
Exactly.
What is coming up?
And where is that fear, right? It obviously boils down from that place of
Yes.
what will I do? Who am I? Have I wasted my life? You know, so many people have these different angles to this one similar issue.
Yeah.
So it's so important to understand this who am I aspect.
It's very important, and it can only come with self-awareness in the present moment. I'm not saying go and open a chapter that's 10 years old. You'll get lost. I'm saying in this current moment,
Correct.
what am I feeling? Why am I feeling? Why do I want to do this? What is making me do this? Why am I making these choices? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? These are just basics.
Yeah.
We got to know them.
You got to know these things.
Because the child in you is just going to keep screaming. Like your own child will tell you, Mama, you don't know that I like football? And you're supposed to know. So your own child is saying, you don't know that I'm not okay with touch. That's why every time someone hugs me, I squirm.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know why I get uncomfortable in crowded places, but I'm not okay with touch. So the child is then saying, you're not listening to me every time I get touched, so now get anxious.
Interesting. So that becomes the default choice. The
Correct.
anxious, the anxiety and the anxiousness becomes
Because the child is not okay with being touched. It's feeling fearful.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I think also coming to your platform, right? So when you join a pageant like this, I think if you don't know yourself, it's very easy to be swept up and lost in everything that is taking place, right? If you don't do the homework before you actually come and join this. What was that journey like for you?
So the director of our pageant actually said a very wonderful thing in one of our video calls. She said, so someone asked her that, how do I prepare for so many questions?
It could be anything, right?
It could be anything. She said that you just need to be completely clued on to yourself.
Amazing.
Why are you here? What do you want out of this? What are your dreams? What's your past like? What has your journey been? You would just be focused on yourself and be completely and fully clued on to yourself. All your answers lie there. Of course, you need to know who's the prime minister and the president and all of that, but basically all your answers lie within yourself. It's
Right.
your journey. We want to know why you are here. Why are you making these choices? What are you going to do? What are your hobbies? It's all inside of you.
And would the question answer aspect be the hardest part of the entire pageant? Because, what was the journey through it? Like, how do you practice for everything?
So pageantry, my whole perspective has changed. When I participated, I learned through the process that not only this is where my 5 elements came in of being creative, being emotionally regulated,
Right.
being fit, being intellectually tuned on, being spiritually aligned, which is very important, right? I have with full focus used all these 5 elements. I have used them and made sure that they do their work
Right.
of making sure that I am okay. So from the clothes to the hair to being spiritually connected, doing my kriya, doing my dhyan, doing my yoga, doing my exercise, like the whole journey was about me. And I realized that I'm okay on my own. I don't really need to depend on relationships. Of course, interpersonal relationships are very, very important, but they can be healthy if you are okay.
Right.
I can only give you what I have. Right? So I learned that I need to make sure that I'm aligned, I'm okay, to be able to be okay with you and give you okayness. So all the hard work that I put in, I had to do it alone.
There's
No,
nobody who could guide you
no,
into this or
no,
be with you in this.
no. And I slogged.
Yeah.
I slogged and I made sure all aspects of me are okay. And I grew. I grew because I paid attention to all my elements. And they all grew. And then I grew holistically. And I just feel like I've become a better person.
I think that is so critical, tying everything together.
Yes.
And the pageant that you represent is about having all these things in place, right?
Earth is what I got.
Right, earth is
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
It is about being grounded.
Yes.
It is about being in a space where you have completely embodied who you are as a person.
Yes.
Right? When you win something for this, it is about saying that, oh wow, this is the most complete of the people that
Yes.
is there. Like,
Yes.
without sounding rude, but it's the most complete.
No, it's not rude because I can't be what you are, right?
Right.
I can
The
only be what
uniqueness
I
of it.
am. Yes. So you have your own beauty. And that doesn't make you pompous because you're owning your beauty.
Right.
It just means that it's yours.
I think that's an important point, right?
Yeah.
We try and subdue the strengths that we have.
Because that's what we're taught.
We're taught, like, oh, why should you make somebody else feel bad because
Yeah.
you've got something?
Yeah. Be kind.
Be kind.
Kindness is everything. But again, it boils down to I can only give you what I have. So am I being kind to you because I'm supposed to be kind? Or am I being kind to you because I'm just a kind human? And I can be a kind human if I'm kind to myself first.
This also brings up, while you were talking, the fear of success, right? That is one of those things that people don't talk about. Fear of failure is okay, I can understand. But fear of success also is a big thing in people's minds.
I love that you have brought this up, especially being a woman. We're not allowed to really succeed, right? You need to get into a box and study, yes, but roti banana सीखो. शादी के बाद क्या करोगी? Now you're married. Now you can't succeed. घर कौन चलाएगा?
Right.
इतना तो पैसा है. You want jewelry? Go buy it. You want to travel? Here, take a ticket. We'll do that. Who'll look after my mom, my dad? So that's one part of it. Okay. Now the man is also kind of lowering his standards because he can't fly too high and too far because there's this unhappy person at home who's pulling him back because she's not allowed to succeed.
Correct.
She's not allowed to own herself. So who's it affecting?
Everyone. Both people.
What is the child watching?
Constantly being held back. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we hold our children back. I gave up, no? That's how women are supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's
I
how
gave up
men are
everything
supposed to
for
be.
you.
Haan.
Now you give up all your dreams for
Now
me.
you give up. Yeah. Destroy yourself.
Just destroy it. It's
Just destroy yourself.
a generational trauma, right? We
Yeah.
call it. And passing
So
it on.
succeeding is very fearful. I must tell you that after I won, I lost a lot of my close friends.
Tell?
They've just shut down. They have just shut down. And these same people were very happy being my anchors when I was struggling, when I was unhappy, when I was fragile, when I needed them to help me make decisions or just hold my spine. But these same people have now completely withdrawn because they are not okay with the victory. I would assume so.
No, I think it's a role reversal, right? So, like when two characters play a role, if you are not playing your role of being a victim or being, then what role will they play, right? It is, you can't expect them to change character as well. So, very often this happens, and I think it's part of life. That's why friends come, friends go.
So
Now you got a new friend.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
And if you're self-aware, but if you're self-aware, I'm going back to self-awareness. Why is Sohini irritating me today? Why am I thinking that she's being pompous or horrible or disconnected or whatever?
Correct.
She's busy. She's working. Her life is changing. Things are moving for her right now. I want to be her cheerleader, or I'm not happy with her success. Withdraw. Withdraw with awareness.
Absolutely.
I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just saying this because this is what happens as you grow. There are people who are not okay with your growth. And then you get scared to succeed.
You get scared to succeed. That's the biggest thing. Like, why should I share? Then what will happen? What will my friends think of me? And it is actually a very, very big fear.
I had a fear. I was afraid of both failing and succeeding.
So you're stuck.
So I was stuck. And this awareness is coming to me now while I'm talking to you. I'm like, damn, I was afraid of both.
Yeah.
So I didn't do a lot of things because I was scared I'll fail or I'll stammer. And then I didn't do a lot of things because I was like, I'll do really well. So I would self-sabotage.
You know, it's so interesting. One of the sticky notes on my mirror at home is this: stop playing small for other people. Right?
I'm going to copy your sticky note.
Yeah. Because I suddenly realized that I was playing everything down. It's like, for example, even when the books launched, right? I was not out there necessarily like, trumpeting, saying that, what will people think, And I was like, this ends now. Why should I be playing small for other people's jollies? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't have to play small for other people's jollies, nor do you have to play big for other people's destruction, so to say.
Yeah.
Just be, Be yourself.
And
Own
actually,
yourself.
success comes from being yourself. Right? That is where actually the most amount of success actually comes in from. I think it's authenticity, right, that you need to see.
Absolutely. Own yourself, align your 5 elements, make sure that you're looking after all the 5 aspects of your being. And then they will also further break down like a mind map. Okay, so now my body needs nutrition, it needs this, it needs that, and my mind needs this, and my emotional regulation needs this, and it'll keep changing. Take care of yourself, align yourself, own yourself, make the changes you want to make. Own your own dissatisfaction. I'm too thin, I'm too fat. I don't like it, but I'm going to be okay with it.
Correct. I'm okay with it now and I'm stuck with it. That is where it gets to, right? I'm okay with this, so now I'm stuck with it. Dissatisfaction actually is good because it brings about some change from time to time.
Yes.
So, Sohini, now you've won Mrs. India Earth.
Yes.
Next step is?
Mrs. Earth.
Mrs. Earth.
That would be my international platform and I would represent India. I would go as India. Here I came as Sohini.
Correct.
Now I will go as India.
Wow. So you'll be actually representing the country in this pageant.
Yes.
What are the steps that you're going to take from now to there? Are there any new habits that you're going to incorporate into your life? What is the next few months till this happens look like?
You know, it's so strange. Since I've won the title of Mrs. India Earth, I find myself becoming more aware in general. I promise you, there's no calculation, but I will not put my geyser on for more than 10 minutes.
Okay, so you actually got into the whole process. I will save Earth now.
No, it's just happening organically because every day I'm wearing this sash that says Mrs. India Earth. So this is where affirmations come in. That's why they're so powerful. So every day I'm like, I am Mrs. India Earth. Okay. Every day I look at my crown and my sash. So every day my head is saying Earth, Earth, Earth. So automatically on a subconscious level, my geyser is not coming on longer. When I'm brushing my teeth, the tap is going off. I'm generally more aware. I don't take a plastic bag anymore or even a paper bag. I'm like, theek hai, and it goes into my purse. So on a subconscious level, I am growing on a macro level.
Right.
Okay. So now let's go to affirmations. Affirmations don't give you magical manifestations. When you are affirming something every single day of your life, we are constantly presented with choices. At every step of the way, you have a choice. When you're saying yes or no, it's a choice you're making. But when you're affirming something every day, journaling it every day, thinking it every day, saying it every day, you will automatically make a choice that will take you in that direction.
Every day, write it down. Every day, have that thought.
Every day.
Right.
Every single day.
A sticky note on your
Correct.
mirror.
Yeah.
Or in my case, you are saved as Mrs. Earth 2024. So
Fingers
we are
crossed.
already doing an affirmation by putting your name like that in
Yeah.
my phone. So you heard it here first on the podcast.
Yes, I will be back.
Yeah, you have to come back after you
I will be back
win.
with the international crown.
Amazing. Do you get to keep this one as well then?
I get to keep this one. She's so kind. When I asked her to go, will I have to give it away to my successor? She says, no, love, you can keep it.
So cute.
I was like, oh,
No, but
thank
then
you.
once you win the other one,
The
then you'll
other-
have 2 crowns. Then I'll wear one, you wear one. Brilliant. Okay, so we have to do this. Okay, this podcast now has to happen. I'm going to wear a crown. You're going to wear a crown. This is going to be epic. You'll
Done
probably
deal.
get thrown out of it for me wearing the crown or something like that, but we'll figure it out as it goes along. Oh my God. Sohini,
Okay, I have
thank
to
you
do
so
this
much
from
for
my head.
coming on and having this
Thank
conversation.
you, Ashton.
First, tell
Thank
me,
you.
how can people connect with you? Where can people reach out to you? How can people support you in everything that you're doing?
So I have an Instagram handle. It's called Sohini.Rohra.
Hmm.
So you can connect me there or connect with me there. Yeah. And my email address is sohinirohra@hotmail.com or sohinirohra1@gmail.com. Everyone laughs at me
Yeah, I
because I
was
still
just going
use
to say, you got a
Hotmail.
Hotmail account. Who uses Hotmail?
I'm a
Okay.
bit old school that way.
And they can follow all the fantastic stuff that you're doing there.
Yes.
Hopefully, you'll start a podcast very soon.
I don't know. That takes commitment, and you are
so,
so committed.
so you have
Don't know
to.
if I can
I'm
give
trying to
that
inspire
now.
you in this direction. So hopefully, it'll happen as well.
Yes.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
the
you,
podcast.
Ashton.
It's
Thank
been
you.
fabulous.
Lovely. I love chatting with you. Thank you.
Thank you. If you like this episode, don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, give us a rating. It really helps with people discovering the podcast. If you like podcasts like this, check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can also watch all the episodes on the Habit Coach Awesome 180 YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. You can also reach out to me. I am Ashdin Doc at Twitter and Instagram. You can connect with me on my website, awesome180.com. You can also check out my 2 new books, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, and the second, The Book of Good Habits for Kids. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach.
IVM.